Hello, welcome to Revenant Reads. I'm Vin, and this is a used book haul from a local library book sale. So the town of Newtown, which is very close to me, was having their annual library book sale, and it's a very big book sale. They basically take over the bottom floor of an intermediate school. So the cafeteria and the gym are just filled with books. There's also books in some other places as well. And me and the family went down and grabbed some books. So I'm just going to show you the things that I grabbed. I didn't get too much fiction. I didn't find too much in what was left. I didn't go on the first day. It's a great book sale, but it is not a cheap book sale. So if you don't wait a few days, it's hard to get really good deals. So we waited a few days before, until, after a certain day, you get certain percentages off of your purchase. So we waited for those days. So I'm sure a lot of the really great stuff was gone, but I still found some stuff that I'm pretty happy about. The first thing, I did pick up some Star Trek novels. They didn't have much. I usually find more Star Trek novels at these places, but and I don't know anything really much about these, but there's Star Trek Corona by Greg Bear, one of the original series Star Trek novels published in the early 1980s. And I also got two from the Dominion War series, Star Trek Next Generation Dominion War. So, the Dominion War was shown on the show Deep Space Nine. The Next Generation was already off the air. And to the disappointment of a lot of fans, we never saw on screen what the Enterprise crew, the Enterprise D or E crew, was doing during the Dominion War. We thought we were going to get a movie from that, but we didn't end up getting that. So John Fornholt, he ended up writing a 4-part series. Now, unfortunately, they only had part 1 and 3. So I still need part 2 and 4. But usually I can end up completing sets after a few book sale visits. So I'm pretty confident I'll eventually be able to get the rest of the set. But grab these in the meantime. Okay, the rest of the stuff is mostly nonfiction. The first one, I picked this up. Huns Magyars, the military culture of Magyars and its related people. I got this because I've got one of my best friends. He was born in Hungary. He didn't come to the U.S. until I think he was around 12 years old or so. But we've been best friends for years and years. And my wife and I, we went to Hungary with him and his family, spent some time there one summer. That was a great time, one of our best trips. And Magyar is basically Hungarian in Hungarian, what they call themselves. So I saw this, and also while we were there in Hungary, we did some traditional bow shooting. You can kind of see the horse bow this guy has. I still have mine. I was just shooting with it the other day. And went to the Kurultai Festival, which is kind of a traditional, I don't know if it's tradition. It is now, but it's an annual festival that happens in Hungary where they basically celebrate the ancestral culture, although there's maybe some issues with that. And I got that for all those reasons. So the friend of mine, he ended up moving down to Texas about almost 2 years ago now. So I figured I'd buy this and send it down to him. And before I sent it, I thought maybe I'd read some. And I'm glad I did because, this sent off a lot of red flags, which I'll talk about in the next Fresh Red Kills video, where I talk about books that I've recently finished reading, because I did finish reading this one already, and have a lot of thoughts. I also picked up this. This is The Medieval Reader, edited by Norman F. Cantor. First-hand accounts of the Middle Ages, including letters, essays, state and church documents, poetry, and ballads. I'm guessing this is the kind of thing that, college undergrads are probably assigned. That's what it strikes me as. But I figured it'd be kind of cool to be able to read through some of these primary source documents. And some of them I recognize, some of them I don't. There's definitely some ones that look pretty interesting. But this is the kind of thing that I'll kind of dip in and out of. When I'm reading a book on the Middle Ages, maybe I'll look for documents that correspond, things that are related. But that's kind of what I'm going to do. It's going to be more like a reference book, I think, for me on the shelf. I also picked up this, The Babylonians, an introduction by Gwendolyn Leake, I'm not sure, by Routledge. Now, I have this year also been doing Historathon 2023. It's an event that I created, but I've got great co-hosts coming along with me, and I got a lot of people participating, which is awesome. And what we have done is split up the year into 4 quarters. Each quarter is 3 months long, and it looks at a different period of history. And we read nonfiction history based on that time period. So the very first quarter is prehistory up to the year 500 CE. And I believe one of my co-hosts, Bill Rutenberg, I think he actually read this for the first quarter. And I think he had fairly positive remarks for him, positive things to say. So this is a possibility for me for next year's Historathon quarter 1, the Babylonians. So again, I don't know much about it, but that's why I picked it up. I also got this one, Lost Christianities, Battles for the Scriptures and Faiths We Never Knew by Bart Ehrman. So I've read a few Bart Ehrman books just this past May for maybe Midrash, another booktube event that looks at religion. I had read, what was it, Heaven and Hell, History of the Afterlife. And I like that. And all the books I've read by him, I've liked so far. And this one certainly seemed right up my alley as far as looking at historical Christianity and how it developed. So I might end up reading this one possibly for next year's maybe Midrash. And I got 2 more. I picked up this one. This is a little bit of an older book. This was published, I think, in the 90s, maybe? Actually, no, 80s. 1982, the first American edition, published in 1989. So I guess maybe that's what this one is from, 1989. But Robert the Bruce, King of Scots, by Ronald McNair Scott. I don't know a lot about Robert the Bruce, other than watching the movie Outlaw King. I don't trust what I saw in Braveheart, but the movie The Outlaw King is largely where my knowledge comes from about the Scottish hero, really, Robert the Bruce. And I saw this at the book sale, and I did kind of a quick look on Goodreads to see people's reviews, and this seems to be highly praised as very readable and engaging. So this might be a possibility for me for next year's Historathon quarter 2, which looks at the years 500 to 1500. So that's why I picked up that one. And if you've read this, I'd certainly love to hear your thoughts on it. That goes for all these. And the last one that I picked up was this, The First World War by John Keegan. I am about to, later on this week, start reading John Keegan's The Face of Battle, which I am reading for not just Historathon, but also for the booktube event, a new one for July, Booktube at War, which looks at books about war, both fiction and nonfiction. So when I had made a video saying that I was going to be reading The Face of Battle, a lot of people were commenting and highly praising John Keegan's work. And I believe at least 1 or 2 people probably mentioned this book, his work on the First World War. So I saw this, and honestly, it's in pretty good condition. This is an older book as well. Let's see, what was this one? 1998. So, you know, still pretty good condition for a hardcover for that time period. So this is definitely a subject I need to read more about and learn more about. And this looks like probably a pretty good 1-volume introduction. But that's why I picked that one up. Another contender for Historathon. So those are the books that I picked up. If you have read any of these, as always, I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'm going to make my pyramid here. And see how I do with lifting it. So the books that I picked up, used, was John Keegan's The First World War. We got Hans Majar's The Medieval Reader, The Babylonians, Lost Christianities, Robert the Bruce, and 3 Star Trek books. So, again, love to hear your thoughts on these. As always, thank you, BookTube.